Hello, I'm James Matthews-Paul, here with PrintingNews.com at EXPO 2016. I'm here with Michael Makin, President of PIA, Printing Industries of America, is that right?
That's correct.
Excellent. Well, it's a very important role in a very important association for the industry, and you're very involved in taking affairs on behalf of the industry to the top level, to government.
Sure.
I'm wondering what the key issues are right now that you're taking to that level.
Sure, well, there's a couple of very important issues. First of all, the industry is a gigantic industry in the United States. It's just some facts and figures. Our industry is the largest growing, fastest growing manufacturing segment in the industry. So 2015 was a great year for print. $159 billion of print was procured. And through August of this year, it is still the #1 manufacturing segment in terms of growth, in terms of shipments, in terms of backlog. So print is on a roll. It's a result of our very sluggish recovery, a 7-year recovery in which print actually performs best in recovery mode as opposed to just coming right out of a recession. So we believe that there's the possibility of sustained growth because it's so meager. In terms of the key issues, one of the most important issues we face, of course, is the Postal Service reform. 50% of everything that's produced in the printing industry in the United States goes into the postal stream, and we need to make sure that we actually have a post office that's going to be there. And candidly, our post office is on the brink, literally on the brink of disaster, insolvency, and a whole world of pain. And so we need to have comprehensive postal reform, which Printing Industries of America has been very instrumental in having. We've seen a major postal reform bill 10 years ago, which we spearheaded. And we have another one that's before Congress right now that's really dealing with some of the issues that the Postal Service has, most notably an unfunded liability of billions of dollars for retirees that they're forcing on the Postal Service to pay within a very short period of time instead of putting that and spreading that over a longer period. So we're hoping to see very significant comprehensive postal reform, because if not, the Postal Service will just go back to the knee-jerk reaction of raising rates because they can't make ends meet. And they raise rates, and when they raise rates, of course, there's a direct correlation between raising rates and print going down. So we can't afford that, our recovery can't afford that.
That's a really fascinating observation about a side of the industry that maybe you wouldn't think of if you're in wide format so much as in commercial print. And you know, in talking about issues, especially issues in the USA, a couple of people may have noticed you've got quite a controversial presidential election going on at the moment. Obviously,
what's
that's visible. It's visible worldwide, sure. And you know, being British, we know that the decision that the US makes in November will impact us around the world. But Michael, with your very specific position, what do you think the impact will be of that election on the industry?
Well, you know, first of all, let's underscore the fact that elections are always important, and I encourage everyone of your viewers to go out and vote. It's really critical. It's one of the greatest things we can do as part of a democracy. Elections are great for print because, particularly a federal election, every 4 years, a federal election injects about $1 billion US into the printing industry. So we love elections. We're election crazy for a whole bunch of reasons, not only because it injects a whole bunch of money into the economy, but also because we're political junkies, and of course we want to ensure that we elect pro-print, pro-business legislators that really make sure that our advocacy agenda is pursued. This election is very interesting. We've really not seen a huge amount of the two main candidates speaking on the political, on the economic issues at B. They're really mudslinging a lot to each other, so it's really anyone's guess. Tonight, of course, I don't know how time sensitive this interview is, but tonight, of course, there's a major debate, and we're all going to be watching that very closely. We're a nonpartisan organization, so I can't say, you know, which would be the better candidate for print. At this juncture, I think that our best expectations from Printing Industries of America is that Mrs. Clinton is likely to be the victor. We do expect that the Senate may change to the Democrats, and the Republicans will likely keep the House. But anything is possible, and you know.
And I suppose we just have to look at the positive news for print, which is that elections make people print more. So, you know, yes. And I think you've made yes. It's really interesting, that $1 billion statistic that you just gave us there.
And the president is critically important, but it's also important that we have members of Congress that are pushing our agenda and understand the importance of print, because we employ 900,000 Americans. We are major contributors to the economy. We're one of the biggest manufacturing segments. We are the biggest manufacturing segment in terms of growth. And we need to have legislators that understand that and come up with pieces of legislation that protect that, and also don't introduce pernicious regulations, which are just as bad as legislation, which impact print.
I'm going to pick up on something that the Printing Industries of America is doing, and that's the Improvement Professional in Print Certification Program. Now, for those of us that don't know, would you just tell us a little bit about that, who it's going to benefit, and why you believe it's important for the industry?
Sure. Well, obviously, continuous improvement is a very important thing for any printing organization, because it's critical that you wring out all potential costs so you can increase your profitability. You increase your profitability, you can reinvest in your company, you reinvest your company, you grow, et cetera, et cetera. You're able to hire more people, the economy gets better, it's all a wonderful picture. It's very clear that in our industry, which is very technical and very diverse and very dynamic and always changing, that you need to keep an eye on continuous improvement. And so this program really teaches individuals, either through our continuous improvement conference and our literature, just how you can wring out those costs to be as efficient as possible. It's all about efficiency and how you can differentiate yourself from the profit laggards. The printing industry has profit leaders, which are in the top 25%, and profit laggards, and you want to be a profit leader. Profit leaders do a couple of things very well. They invest in their people, they invest in education, and they focus on the bottom line. And it's not easy in this cutthroat printing industry, which has 27,000 commercial printers vying for that $150 billion. It's not easy, it's very competitive, and so it's not easy to raise prices. The one thing you can do, though, is taking control of your costs, and that's what this certification program does. It teaches people how to get there, and you can only get that certification once you've demonstrated a complete understanding of that infrastructure and how companies can attain that objective.
I think one of the things that you've given us throughout this interview is some really interesting statistics, and I think that you, Michael, and PIA have a particular viewpoint on the industry that we don't get to hear very often. So I wonder, what's your view about this year's Graph Expo show? What would you be looking for as a printer, as a visitor here?
Well, I think it's always exciting to come to a Graph Expo show. Printing Industries of America is 1/3 owners of the show, so we obviously have a vested interest. We think it's a great thing for printers to stay ahead of technology, to stay ahead of the competition, to understand the importance of education. Again, one of the differentiating factors between profit leaders and profit laggers are those that actually keep up to speed on technology. So there's no better place than Graph Expo to learn what's going on in every facet of the industry, be it inkjet technology or new substrates that can be used for in a conductive capacity, or digital printing, or you name it. It's the cornucopia of everything under one fantastic roof. And so I would encourage everyone to remember that next year we're going back to Chicago, and it's going to be a great show. This is a great show here in Orlando. And just circling back very quickly on the election front, I do want to make sure that your viewers know that when I say that we expect a Hillary Clinton presidency, we're not necessarily endorsing that that's the case to be. We're completely bipartisan. We want everyone to vote how they want to vote. It's their business, and we don't have a dog in that race, other than, of course, making sure that whoever is elected president supports a pro-print, pro-business agenda.
I mean, being British, I can say safely that the one thing we do know about politics is that everything is unexpected, and you can never quite tell which way it's going to go. So,
precisely.
I'd just like to finish on a slightly different note. What excites you most about print and the printing industry? You've obviously been in this world for quite some time now, and what makes you passionate about print?
Well, don't let the gray hair fool you. I've only been in for 2 weeks. No, I'm just joking. I love print. I'm passionate about print. I think that there's so many naysayers about our industry that think that it's dead, that it's not sexy, that it's not technological. It's the farthest thing from the truth. I always say that we should be so proud, we should sing from the mountaintops just to say just how important it is. Everything that our industry does touches people's lives in a way that other media just does not happen. So it's tactile, it's informative, it transforms people's ideas, it conveys message like no one else. So I'm a very passionate print promoter, not just because I'm CEO of the largest graphic arts trade association in the world, but because I really believe in it. I believe in it to my very core. And so I think that opportunities like this at Graph Expo, where the whole industry can come together to celebrate print and what it does for our economy, what it does for the world, I mean, there are still places of the world that need print to learn how to read, to learn how to change their entire culture. So print is very much alive, very much here to stay, and I'm proud to be to proselytize for it.
Michael, it's been fascinating talking to you. Thank you very much for the work you do and for putting on this great show, and I look forward to the next time we speak.
My pleasure.